Is Michael the same as Jesus? It's a question that's been debated for centuries. Some say yes, pointing to similarities in their roles and descriptions. Others say no, insisting Michael is a created being, not divine. But what if both sides are missing something important? What if the truth about Michael's identity reveals something surprising about our own relationship with God? The answer might change everything you thought you knew about angels, humanity, and the divine plan. Picture a heavenly warrior, sword gleaming, ready for battle. This isn't your typical harp-playing angel. This is Michael, and his story starts in an unexpected place, the book of Daniel. Daniel, an exile in Babylon, has a vision. Suddenly, a powerful figure appears. Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, Daniel writes. But why does an angel need help? And why is Michael described as a warrior? But before we start with Michael's story, I want you guys protected from evil. And how do we do that? By writing "Lord rebuke you" in the comments of this video. Coming back to our video. Most of us think of angels as peaceful messengers floating on clouds, playing soft music. Michael shatters that image. He's a fighter, a protector. In Daniel 12:1, he's called the Great Prince who protects your people. His name in Hebrew means, "Who is like God," showing God's power and uniqueness. Surprisingly, Michael only shows up 5 times in the Bible, but each time is important. He's a protector in Daniel, argues with the devil in Jude, and leads God's armies against evil in Revelation. Every time we see him, Michael is a force to be reckoned with. What makes Michael special is his title, Archangel. It means chief messenger in Greek. He's not just any angel, he's their leader. In God's huge army of angels, Michael is the general, the one God calls on to fight evil. This makes us wonder, if Michael is so powerful, why don't we see him more often? Why isn't he always showing up to save the day? The answer might surprise you. To understand this, we need to look closer at angels. Are they just superpowered humans with wings? Or is there more to the story? Angels aren't human at all. They're spiritual beings created by God. This fact reveals a truth about the spiritual realm that most people miss. When you think of angels, what comes to mind? The real nature of angels, especially Michael, is more intense than popular ideas suggest. Let's clear up some misunderstandings. Angels aren't dead humans who got wings. They're not floating babies either. These ideas come from art and movies, not the Bible. The truth is much more exciting. Angels don't have physical bodies, but they can look human when needed. This means they're not limited like we are. They can move between heaven and earth, appearing and disappearing whenever they want. But why does this matter to you? Remember, Michael's job as a protector is crucial. He fights for God's people on earth too. Daniel 12:1 says,
"At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise."
Imagine having a powerful spiritual warrior watching over you. That's what Michael does. Angels are God's servants, created to do His will. They're messengers, warriors, and protectors. They can do things we can barely imagine, but they're not all-powerful. Only God is that strong. This is why it's important to understand Michael's true nature. He's a completely different kind of being. His strength comes from God, and his purpose is to serve God and protect His people. But this brings up a question. If Michael is so powerful and different from us, could he be more than just an angel? Some people wonder if Michael might actually be a god himself. After all, he leads armies, fights evil, and protects God's people. Is it possible that Michael is actually a lesser god? Or is there more to it? The answer is not so simple as per the Bible, and it might change how you see your own place in God's plan. Imagine having the strength to battle Satan himself. That's Michael's job. But why would God need Michael to face evil if he's all-powerful? The answer shows us something about spiritual warfare that most people miss. Michael leads God's armies against evil. In Revelation 12, 7, 9, we see a huge battle in heaven. Michael and his angels fight the dragon and his forces. It's not just a small fight, it's a war for all of creation. But why does this battle happen? If God can do anything, why doesn't he just make evil go away? It's because spiritual warfare is about free will. God lets the fight continue because he wants us to choose good on our own. Michael plays a big part in this. He's not just fighting for himself or God. He's fighting for us. Daniel 12, 1.
Michael will rise up to protect God's people. He defends us from spiritual attacks.
This battle isn't just in heaven. It's happening all around us, right now. When we face temptation or choose between right and wrong, we're part of this bigger fight. Michael's strength can inspire us to stay strong in our daily struggles. Some people wonder if Michael is as powerful as God or if he's some kind of lesser god. He's not. Michael is strong, but he's still serving God. His power comes from God, and he does what God wants. Even his name, which means "who is like God," reminds us of this. When we understand who Michael really is, we can see our own role in God's plan better. We're not just watching this big spiritual battle. We're in it, and Michael is on our side. Some traditions have a special day to honor Michael. This shows us something interesting about how we connect with the spiritual world. It's a date that is special to so many people around the world, and many of you don't even know it. September 29th holds a secret many believers don't know about. It's called Michaelmas, a day celebrated since the 5th century. This feast of St. Michael started in ancient Rome, where the first Western church dedicated to him was built on Via Salaria and blessed on this date before 450 AD. Michaelmas became a big deal in the Middle Ages. It marked the end of harvest and a time to be thankful for the year's food. People celebrate it differently around the world. In England, families eat goose and kids often start school. In Italy, people walk in processions and go to special church services, especially at places like Monte Gargano and Mont Saint-Michel. But Michaelmas isn't just about old traditions. People think Michael's power to protect is strongest on this day. Why? It's near the autumn equinox when day and night are balanced. It's like Michael is guarding us as the nights get longer. There's an old story that shows how powerful this day can be. In 590 AD, Rome had a terrible plague. Pope Gregory the Great led a prayer walk through the city. He saw a vision of Michael on top of a castle, putting away his sword. Soon after, the plague ended. People saw this as Michael protecting them. But what about the rest of the year? How does Michael look after God's people every day? The answer might surprise you, and it's all about special spiritual armor. Why is this armor so important? And how does it look like? The Bible talks about a spiritual suit of armor that's not just for angels like Michael, but for us too. We're fighting the same battle against evil, and this armor helps us stand strong, just like Michael does. In Ephesians, we learn about different pieces of spiritual armor. Each one protects us in its own way. The belt of truth keeps everything together, showing how important honesty is. The breastplate of righteousness guards our hearts, reflecting God's goodness in us. The shoes of the gospel of peace help us stand firm when life gets tough. The shield of faith protects our whole body from the enemy's attacks. It's like a Roman soldier's shield soaked in water to put out flaming arrows. Our faith needs to be soaked in God's word. The helmet of salvation protects our minds, reminding us we're saved and helping us fight doubts. Lastly, there's the sword of the Spirit, which is God's word. It's the only piece for attack, powerful enough to fight temptation like Jesus did. This armor isn't about physical protection. It guards our hearts, minds, and souls. When we wear it, we're ready for life's challenges. It helps us stay strong in our faith, just like Michael stays strong in his heavenly battles. Michael isn't the only angel with a big job. There's another angel who had a crucial task at the start of human history. His story is surprising and shows how important these heavenly beings are in God's plan. When paradise was lost, who stood guard at its gates? The answer is not Michael, and no, he wasn't there at the Garden of Eden. Imagine Adam and Eve, ashamed and scared, leaving the only home they've ever known. The beautiful garden disappears behind them. They can't go back because someone's blocking the way. Genesis 3:24 tells us who these guards were. God placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. These cherubim aren't cute baby angels. In the Bible, they're powerful spiritual beings, often near God, guarding holy places. At Eden, they had a big job. The flaming sword shows how serious God was about keeping humans out. But why? The cherubim weren't just keeping humans away. They were protecting the tree of life. If humans ate from it after sinning, they'd live forever with sin. God wanted to save humanity, not trap them forever. This shows us that angels aren't only messengers or fighters. They're also guardians, doing God's work in ways we might not get at first. What seems like punishment can actually be protection. Angels have many jobs in God's plan, from guarding Eden to fighting evil. Michael, especially, has a role that matters to all of us. His battle with other angels is a story you'll want to hear next. Imagine a battle shaking heaven itself. A powerful angel leads the charge against evil forces. This isn't just a story. It's happening now, and you're closer to it than you think. The Bible tells us about a huge fight between Michael and other angels. These battles decided the fate of heaven and earth. Revelation shows us this cosmic conflict. War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon and his angels fought back, but lost. This dragon was Satan, leading fallen angels against Michael and God's army. Angels clashed as good-faced evil. Michael stood strong, inspiring his side to fight harder. But why? Some angels, led by Satan, rebelled against God for power. Michael and the loyal ones defended God's authority. This isn't ancient history. In Daniel, we see Michael fighting evil forces that try to control earthly kingdoms. He's a high-ranking leader in God's army. You might ask, if this fight is still going on, why can't we see it? Actually, we can. When you struggle to do the right thing, you're feeling part of this bigger spiritual battle. Here's the key. You're not just watching. You have a part to play. Paul talks about wearing God's armor to fight evil. This means you can join Michael in doing good. Think about it. When you choose to be kind or honest, you're teaming up with Michael. You're part of something much bigger than you thought. But if Michael is so strong and God's on his side, why hasn't he beaten Satan for good? Why does the fight go on? The answer shows something surprising about God's plan and free will. It might change how you see your place in the world. We've seen Michael as a warrior, but he might also be the ultimate heavenly messenger. Imagine the most important message ever delivered, not by text or email, but through a divine courier on a mysterious mountain. Angels are messengers. That's what their name means in Greek. They often bring important news from God in the Bible. But one message stands out: the 10 Commandments. When God gave the commandments on Mount Sinai, there was thunder, lightning, and a thick cloud. This wasn't your average storm. It was a sign God was there. Some Jewish traditions say God used angels to help deliver his message. Maybe his voice was too powerful for humans to hear, or maybe it was to show how important these rules were. Was Michael one of these angelic messengers? We can't say for sure. We know he's an important angel who often delivers big news from God. But for the 10 Commandments, that's unclear. Still, it's fun to think about, isn't it? Angels help us understand God's plans. The New Testament even mentions the law that was put into effect through angels. Galatians 3:19. This might be talking about the 10 Commandments. Who delivered the message matters because it shows how God works. He often uses helpers, both heavenly and human, to share his words with us. It's like he's inviting us to be part of his story. Next time you see the 10 Commandments, think about their journey from heaven to earth. Whether Michael, other angels, or God himself delivered them, these rules changed everything. But Michael's work goes beyond heaven and mountaintops. He's left his mark all over our world. From old battlefields to churches today, Michael's influence is everywhere. You might be surprised how close you are to one of his earthly footprints. Imagine a line across Europe connecting amazing religious sites. What if an archangel drew this line? Michael's earthly footprints is evident, and yet not many people have recognized it on earth. It's a living proof that Michael is real. Michael's impact on our world is real. Over time, a pattern called the Sword of Saint Michael has appeared. It's more than just a bunch of tourist spots. Our journey starts in Ireland, on Skellig Michael. Monks built a monastery there in the 6th century to show how much they loved God. But why name it after Michael? In France, there's Mont Saint-Michel, an island with a big abbey. People say Michael told a bishop to build a church there. Millions visit every year, feeling something special. Italy has 2 important places, Sacra di San Michele on a mountain, and Monte Sant'Angelo, where Michael supposedly showed up 4 times. Even England has St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall. Fishermen said they saw Michael, and soon a monastery appeared. You can only get there when the tide is out. These places make a nearly straight line across Europe from Ireland to Israel. It's like Michael drew a sword on the map. Many of these spots used to be pagan worship sites. Now, they're Christian landmarks. For a long time, people walked this path looking for Michael's help. Even today, these places feel special. The last point of Michael's sword is at Mount Carmel in Israel, a place called Stella Maris. This mountain is linked to the prophet Elijah and Michael's power. Why would an angel leave such a clear mark? Maybe to remind us that the spiritual world is close, or to make us think about things we can't see. Michael's influence isn't just about places. He's shaped history too, changing empires and nations. And it all began with a vision that would change the ancient world. The year is 312 AD. Rome is at a turning point. One man's choice will shape the future of the Western world, but he needs a sign first. What he sees will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about angels, empires, and the connection between heaven and earth. Constantine, a Roman emperor, is about to fight a big battle. Christianity is illegal. People who follow Jesus are hunted down. The old Roman gods are losing power. Everything could change. The night before the battle, Constantine looks up at the sky. He sees something unbelievable. A cross made of light appears, brighter than the sun. Words show up in the sky. In this sign, conquer. Constantine can't believe his eyes. Is the Christian God sending him a message? Some people think Constantine saw more than just a cross. They say he saw Michael, the warrior angel, leading an army from heaven. Imagine it. Michael with his shining sword, ready to fight next to Constantine's soldiers. Constantine decides to trust what he saw. He tells his soldiers to paint crosses on their shields. They go into battle with the symbol of an illegal religion. Against the odds, they win. This victory changes everything. Constantine becomes the first Roman emperor to support Christianity. He stops the attacks on Christians and builds churches all over the empire. What he saw becomes a huge moment in history. Why would God send such an amazing sign? Maybe because Christianity's future was at risk. If Constantine had lost the battle, Christianity might have disappeared forever. But because he won, history changed course. Michael showing up to Constantine made people think differently about angels. If Michael could appear when an emperor needed help most, what could he do for regular people? This idea changed how people prayed, asking for help with big and small problems. For hundreds of years after, army leaders would pray to Michael before fighting. They'd ask him to protect and strengthen them. Michael became a symbol of winning when it seemed impossible. But here's what most people don't realize. Constantine's vision did more than change laws or battles. It changed how we think about the spiritual world around us. Heaven suddenly felt closer. Angels weren't just characters in old stories anymore. They became powerful friends, ready to help when we need them most. Imagine being there to witness a cosmic battle between good and evil. That's what one pope experienced, and his response created a prayer still used today. But why did he think we needed extra protection? In 1884, Pope Leo XIII had a shocking vision during Mass. He saw Satan boasting to God about destroying the church. Shaken by this scene, the Pope knew he had to act. His solution? A powerful prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. It's like a call for help, asking heaven's strongest warrior to defend us from evil. The Pope wanted believers to picture Michael ready for battle, sword in hand. What's in this prayer? It starts by asking Michael to defend us in battle and protect us from the wickedness and snares of the devil. This shows the fight isn't just physical. It's about guarding our souls from temptation. The prayer also asks God to rebuke the devil, reminding us that God's in charge. It ends by asking Michael to cast Satan and evil spirits into hell. This prayer became a big deal. Priests said it after every low Mass for nearly 80 years. Even when it was dropped from Mass in 1964, many Catholics kept saying it. Recent popes have encouraged people to keep praying it for protection in today's world. Why should you care? We all face tough choices between right and wrong. This prayer reminds us we're not alone in those struggles. We've got powerful friends on our side. But why do we call on Michael specifically? What makes his name so special? Many people have named their kids after Michael. Names in the Bible aren't labels. They're declarations of purpose and identity. Michael's name packs a punch. Let's dig into the power behind these 6 letters. Michael's Hebrew name, Mikael, means who is like God. It's a bold challenge to anyone who thinks they can match God's power. Think about other angel names. Each one tells us their job. Gabriel means God is my strength. He's God's special messenger who brought big news to Mary about baby Jesus. Raphael means God heals. And guess what? He helps sick people. Uriel means God is my light. He brings God's wisdom. Each angel's name is like their job description. Picture shouting Michael's name at evil. You're basically saying, "You're nothing compared to my God." As heaven's top warrior, Michael's name fits him perfectly. When he shows up, it's a reminder that no one can beat God. In Daniel, we see Michael fighting for God's people. His name becomes a rallying cry against darkness. But Michael's name does more than scare off the bad guys. It shows us who he is. Michael isn't trying to be famous. His name points to God, as if to say, "Don't focus on me, look at the one I serve." The name Michael has been super popular for thousands of years. Did you know Michael Jackson, the king of pop, shared this powerful name? So does Michael Jordan, the basketball legend, and Michael Phelps, the swimming champion. Even famous actors like Michael B. Jordan and Michael J. Fox carry this name. In 2023, Michael was still one of the top 50 baby names in America. Think about that. For over 2,000 years, parents have been naming their kids Michael. In fact, millions of people worldwide have this name. In Ireland, they spell it Michael. And in Russia, they say Mikhail. But it's all the same powerful name. Here's something cool. Michael isn't just popular in Christian families. Jewish families love this name too. And get this, even people who aren't religious choose the name Michael because it sounds strong and important. Think about schools today. There's probably at least one Michael in every classroom. The name has been in the top 100 names for over 100 years. That's amazing staying power for a name that started as a warrior angel's battle cry. Here's food for thought. Michael's powerful name is part of God's big plan, and you're in it too. Every Michael walking around today carries a tiny piece of that ancient spiritual battle cry. What do you think your role is in this cosmic battle? Remember, whether you're named Michael or not, you can still stand up for what's right, just like the angel Michael does. That's what his name is all about, reminding us that nothing is stronger than God. You might think the biggest battles in history are over, like the World Wars or the Cold War. But what if the biggest fight is happening right now? And here's the twist. Michael, even with all his power, hasn't won it yet. Why? The answer could change how you see Michael. Every day, good and evil are at war around us. We can't see it, but it's as real as the chair you're sitting on. Michael, God's strongest warrior, is right in the middle of this fight. So why hasn't Michael beaten the devil yet? Why do bad things still happen? It's not because Michael isn't strong enough. God has a bigger plan. He wants us to choose good over evil on our own. This struggle can also make our faith stronger. Like how exercise makes our muscles grow, Michael isn't just watching from the sidelines. He's always fighting to protect us. The Bible tells us that one day, Michael will arise to defend God's people. He's ready to jump in when we need him most. The book of Revelation talks about a final battle where Michael will lead God's armies against Satan. But why doesn't Michael end it all now? It's because God has perfect timing. Everything will happen when God says it's time. Michael's story isn't just ancient history or far-off future. It's happening now. His strength shows us we're part of something bigger. So next time life gets tough, remember, you've got a powerful friend on your side. But what does this mean for your everyday life? How can you use this heavenly strength? Speaking of Michael's incredible power, did you know there was once a mysterious fight that even many Christians don't know about? It wasn't just any battle. It was personal, really personal. Michael, God's top warrior, went head-to-head with Lucifer himself over Moses' dead body. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Moses who split the Red Sea and received the 10 Commandments. But why would these two powerful beings fight over a dead body? And why Moses? The answer will shock you. Here's a tiny peek. This fight revealed something about Lucifer that he'd been hiding for thousands of years. And Michael? He did something so unexpected that it changed everything we know about spiritual warfare. Want to know the craziest part? This 3-year-old story exposes a truth about good and evil that's more relevant today than ever before. The way Michael handled this confrontation, well, let's just say it wasn't what anyone expected from heaven's strongest warrior. If you thought the story about Michael was powerful, wait until you see what happened in this face-off with Lucifer. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover this ancient mystery. Trust me, once you know what really went down that day, you'll be shocked how Lucifer can influence you by his evil thoughts.